Tony Evers recommending taxing e-cigarettes and vaping products the same way as tobacco.
The tax is part of the governor's 2-year spending plan and estimated to generate nearly $35 million in tax revenue. But as Rose Schmidt explains, it's being met with some pushback.
Yes, well, the state's Department of Health Services says right now there's an e-cigarette epidemic among teens, and advocacy groups believe this tax is a step in the right direction. But vape shops tell me that taxing these products will lead to higher prices for customers and could even drive them out of business.
Like all this would be taxed.
Inside Knuckleheads, you'll find a vapor's bliss.
I personally smoke cigarettes for too long. You know, not as long as most, but I am right now currently making the switch.
A Switch general manager, Landon Meskey, says shows him the positive effects of vaping.
I wake up feeling better.
But those same products could soon have a hefty 71% tax imposed.
I know a lot of shops pay our fair share of taxes.
Under Governor Evers' state budget proposal.
I know there are shops that are just vapor. I mean, a tax like this goes into effect, you're hurting a lot of small businesses.
This comes at a time when e-cigarette use among teenagers is skyrocketing. Last year, the state found that 20% of high school students were using them.
What we found is that, especially with vaping and juuling, the parents don't know what's actually out there.
Stephen Ricks chairs an organization in Lodi educating parents about the products and says the tax would be good for a number of reasons.
If students are on a limited budget, which most of them are, because they're probably getting money from parents or friends, then if the tax is there, then it's more expensive for them to do, and they may avoid it for longer.
His organization also trains teachers to catch students when they use Juuls, which looks similar to USB drives.
They have a box where they collect, and the box is getting bigger and bigger because of the amount of them, which to me is amazing.
Landon says his shop scans the ID of everyone that buys something and agrees that education is key.
Crack down on underage use, like send in people every month to all these shops.
But Stephen is focusing on cracking down long before students walk into the door.
The other thing we know is that once you develop a habit like that, then you start moving up to the next step and the next step and the next step.
While also acknowledging that teenagers are only part of the conversation.
I think that vaping and juuling has a purpose for adults who are trying to quit smoking, but that's about where it ends.
Governor Evers' budget proposal also would tax what's known as little cigars and brown cigarettes as regular cigarettes. It's important to note that the governor's plan faces opposition from Republican lawmakers who plan to write their own state budget proposal.
Thank you, Rose. When you said your